I had been praying and fasting. The Lord called me to a 40-day fast. And during that fasting time, He wanted me and my disciple to walk around the 4 inhabited islands of the Galapagos. About 20 days into my fast, the Lord released us to go and walk. I had asked the disciple to make all the travel arrangements from island to island because it's a couple hours between islands on boats. And so I wanted him to make all those arrangements so that we wouldn't be left between islands. He made all the arrangements. I flew from where I was in the mainland out to San Cristobal. The church blessed us and prayed over us and blessed our trip because we wanted to go to the 4 islands to ask the Holy Spirit to do something mighty in all 4 islands. When we got there, the disciple on the Galapagos, he said, we're going to go to the next island, Santa Cruz, and I've arranged for Captain Max to pick us up, and he's going to take us in his boat to the furthest island called Floriana. And so I said, great, let's go. We took a 2-hour cruise on a small 15-passenger boat, and we got to the next island, and we were waiting for Captain Max, and pretty soon there he was. Captain Max came, and he said, are you ready to go? I said, we're ready to go. We're excited about this. And I said, where's your boat? And he pointed off into the distance where all the boats were, and I looked and I said, wow, that's a very big boat. He said, no, it's not that boat. I said, oh, what boat is it? He pointed again to that same direction. I said, well, it's not as big a boat, but that's a good boat. He said, no, it's not that boat either. And he pointed to the last boat that was coming towards us. And I felt like singing the theme song to Gilligan's Island. It was just a small little life-saving boat with a 75cc Mercury engine. And I thought, we're going to cross 2 hours in the open Pacific in that? And I have to confess, I wasn't very excited about Captain Max. As a captain, I had imagined a bigger boat to go across the open Pacific. And we got into this boat, and there weren't even seats in the boat. It was just ribbing, wooden ribbing, and this powerful 75cc Mercury engine, and we roared off into the open Pacific on the 3-foot waves. And every time I knew that 75cc Mercury engine was out of the water because I heard, and I slammed against a wave and it shot up my back, and I said, Captain Max, I'm a grandfather. I'm an old guy. Is there anything I can sit on? He said, why didn't you say so? You can have my mom's seat when she travels with me. I said, thank you so much. I need your mom's seat. Where is it? And he pointed, and it was an igloo cooler. And I tell you what, I sat down on that igloo cooler and I thought, this is a whole lot better than the wooden ribbing of the boat. But I was still not excited about Captain Max. And my disciple at this time, we were already in the trip, and he looked at me, he said, Pastor, he said, I get seasick. We were quite a pair out there going to the furthest island of the Galapagos. But you know what? It didn't matter because we were going to do what God wanted to do. And about halfway in the trip, after slamming on all those waves, I thought to myself, I just started laughing. And the Holy Spirit began to speak to my heart. And I said, Holy Spirit, I would prefer this seat, going to do your will, than to sit on any comfortable pew in any very pretty church doing nothing. And the Holy Spirit that time softened my heart, and I began to talk to Captain Max. And Captain Max said, you know what? You're here to pray for our island. He said, can you stay at my house? We said, sure. We got to the island and got to Captain Max's house, and it was a 5-star house. Anywhere you looked through the open roof, you could find at least 5 stars. I watched as birds came in from the roof, the holes in the roof, went to the stove, took the lid off the rice pot, got some rice, put the lid back and took off. I knew they had done that before. In this house, we got to talk with Captain Max and his family and just pray. They couldn't believe that we would be fasting and praying for them. You see, there was only 105 people on this island, and 25 of them were Captain Max, part of his family. God gave us a contact there on that island. We stayed at that house, and I didn't realize in that house that there was other people there until it was late at night. And before we got to go to sleep, he said, why don't you take a shower? I said, great. Took a shower, and the walls of the shower only came up to my shoulders. That's not too bad, but you could see right into the kitchen, and people in the kitchen would wave at me, and I'd wave at them while I was in the shower. And as I was in the shower, I didn't know that there was a blind man also in this home, and he didn't know that I was already in the shower. And he came in, he was feeling his way in the shower as I was trying to edge my way out of the shower. I have to confess, I didn't pray for his healing right at that moment. I slept out of that shower, and he got in there, and we passed through the night, and the next day the sea was even worse. And we got into Captain Mac's boat again to return. The waves were now at 4 and 5 feet. And every time we slammed on all those waves, there's about 4,500 waves between his island and the next island, because I felt every one of them go up my back. And halfway through the trip, the Holy Spirit said, "Really? You prefer this seat than any comfortable chair in any comfortable church doing my will?" And I said, "Yes, Holy Spirit."